Are you anxious and scared about the direction the United States of America is heading in and her future? Do you feel like your rights are being taken away? Are you concerned about the next election? Do you feel like you're now voting on which candidate is less likely to become a tyrant? Well, in this video, we're discussing moving abroad from the USA before the next election or shortly thereafter it. Topics covered are passports, some visa options, dual citizenship, purging your belongings, financing your move abroad, what other viewers have said about living abroad, and general steps towards leaving the divided states of America. In 2022, it was estimated that around 3.9 million Americans lived overseas. Should you become one of them? I have, and I haven't looked back. This is not an all-inclusive list, but can help you get started on your journey towards your new home. We're starting with everyone's favorite travel document and your key to international adventures. If you don't already have one, get a passport now for you and your family members. There have been long wait times, and you don't want this to be the reason why you can't leave, especially in an emergency. The State Department requires that you show proof of citizenship, a passport-sized photo, and the application form. At the time of recording, these are the fees for the first-time applicants and those that are renewing, and these are the fees for children. If you already have a passport, check the expiration date, since some countries require a 6-month window before expiration to permit entry onto their soil. I have linked the website to the State Department in the description below, which discusses the steps and what is needed for obtaining or renewing your passport. This step can be and should be done throughout the entire process, but please start right now. Like right now. Did you start yet? It's hard deciding on what stays and what goes. This process takes much longer than most think, and it's due to our emotional attachments to things and objects. One tip to use to guide you on your decluttering journey is to ask yourself how each item will serve you in your new life, or does it spark joy when you hold it or look at it? I mean, do you really need that collection of ceramic frogs in Portugal? People waste money putting things in storage when they move abroad because they weren't ready to let go of items, or they thought they might need them after a while. Trust me when I say, most people don't even remember what they put in storage. Once you've sorted through all of your belongings, you'll have to figure out what to do with it all. You can sell them online, donate them to charity, host a yard or garage sale, hire a junk removal company, or give them away to friends, just to name a few. Oh, and please shred all documents that have important information on them. We don't want those pesky hackers and identity thefts to get a hold of it. Now, this isn't as easy as it sounds, but you'll have to make a list of countries for a scouting trip, or one that you're just going to pull the trigger on. I personally did a scouting trip for Panama and the Bahamas. You want to start to narrow down the regions of the planet that you potentially want to live in. You'll have to ask yourself what's truly important to you and what are your priorities. Things like religion, the weather, potential for natural disasters. For example, I wanted to live below the hurricane belt, but now for the first time in my life, I'm dealing with little earthquakes. How far from the USA do you want to be? How far will your money go there? What is an average cost of living for your lifestyle? I repeat, for your lifestyle. How important is the standard of healthcare to you? Are you going to bop around from country to country? And are there any vaccine requirements to do that? For example, a yellow fever vaccine is required when traveling to the Bahamas from Panama. Trust me, you don't want to find this out while you're trying to board your flight like I did and wasn't allowed to board. Do you speak the language there, or are you willing to learn it? Do they widely speak English? How's the internet service? These are some of the questions you'll have to ask yourself. Next, you'll need to find out what visas are offered for the countries on your list and if you qualify for those. A quick Google search can provide you those answers. Are those visa fees in your budget? Remember, you're going to have to pay for the visa, the move, unless you can find a company to work for that's going to pay for the move, and pay for your new life abroad. Once you find out the visa options, you'll have to determine how often you'll have to visit and/or stay in the country to complete the process. This also ties into your budget. Okay, so you've narrowed down the list of your potential new homes, but before you pack the remainder of your belongings and buy a one-way ticket, I would suggest taking a scouting trip. Think of it like a first date with your potential new home country. Is the spark real? If you choose to do a scouting trip, you need to pivot your mindset from one of a tourist to one with the lens of, can I actually live here? When I did my scouting trip in Panama, I hired a private tour guide and saw 8 parts of the country. I had visited Panama twice before, but it was completely different when looking at it as a potential future home. Try to see if you can immerse yourself in the local culture, explore different neighborhoods, see if you can connect with expats. Can you imagine yourself actually living there? See if you can stay in an Airbnb instead of a hotel. Try the food, chat with locals to get a taste of daily life. Are there some hidden quirks you need to be prepared for? Like there's a protest culture in Panama. Would that bother you? Familiarize yourself with the healthcare system. I would suggest trying to visit a doctor and pharmacy during this trip and see if you can get any medication that you're on and determine the associated costs. Healthcare systems vary from country to country. Do they have universal healthcare where everyone has access to affordable medical treatment? Do they have private healthcare systems? Do you need to have medical insurance to cover your costs? Are you just going to pay out of pocket and don't have insurance? Do they have a hybrid medical healthcare system where they combine elements of both? The easiest and sometimes fastest way to get citizenship is through descent or by investment. Citizenship by descent is allowed by several countries if you can prove ancestry. For example, I was able to get citizenship in Jamaica via my grandfather. Jamaica allows us up to a great-grandparent. I had to prove this lineage through birth records and certificates going back to Jamaica. You can search for birth records for numerous countries on familytree.org. Citizenship by investment is also another popular option where you invest a certain amount into a country. You'll deal with the application process, and usually, under a year, you'll be granted citizenship and can get a second passport. Some of the countries that offer this program are St. Kitts and Nevis, St. Lucia, Turkey, Malta, and Cambodia. Start to think about how you want to move. Are you shipping your belongings? Are you starting fresh in your new home with a minimalist lifestyle? Is your current furniture a good match for the climate you're moving to? Start researching international moving companies and read their reviews and associated costs. What do you really need? Does it cost more to ship it than buying it in your new country? I moved with a bunch of suitcases and deployment bags. Check the airlines for the associated fees for extra baggage. If you have pets, will you have to research the country's requirements for bringing in an animal, as well as determine if your pet can fly in cabin with you? Does it have to be in cargo? Or can you charter a plane with other people to bring their pets to reduce stress on both of you? My cat took half of my life away while trying to bring him to Panama. He almost made the great escape on the plane. Oh, Molly. But now he's living his best life. You have to determine how you're going to fund your new lifestyle. Are you going to retire early, semi-retire, live off pensions or Social Security? Do you have enough invested or saved to sustain your lifestyle? Do you have real estate that you can leverage? Can you even work in the country you're considering? For example, as an engineer, I cannot work in Panama because it's one of the protected professions for citizens. Do you have a personal business that you can work remotely? Can you find a job that allows remote work? How large is your emergency fund? Do you even have one? Consider getting a bank in the U.S. that reimburses you for your international ATM fees, like Charles Schwab. A quick Google search will give you several options. Moving abroad is exciting, nerve-wracking, and can be an emotional roller coaster, so hold on. You might hear a lot of pushback from friends and family and coworkers. Just remember that this is your journey, your happiness, and your life. Oftentimes, they're just projecting their fears onto you. Just keep pressing forward and listen to your gut and your heart. You might hear things like, stay and fight. Why are you running away? Our ancestors fought and built this country. Keep moving forward with your plan and desires. Trust me. I heard that all, and I have no regrets. You will have good days and bad days, and that's perfectly normal. It's a part of life. Don't put any added pressure on yourself to be happy or adjusted all of the time. Remember, you're doing this for you, and not everything has to be perfect. Murphy is always lurking. Tee-hee. I can't stand Murphy. If you haven't already, join Facebook groups for those living in the country you're considering. You can find out a ton of information in them. Most people are quite helpful, but be mindful of the type of questions that you ask. Are you asking questions that you can simply ask Google? Are your questions too general and broad? Stop to think about how you would answer that question if someone posed it to you about your home country. For example, what's the weather like there? That can be Googled. But also, where is there? It's an entire country and it might have different climates and microclimates. I want to be by the water. Where should I move to? Well, what kind of water? Do you just want to look at it? Is it swimmable? Do you want to surf? Be specific. Instead of asking what it's like to live in Paris, try something more targeted like what's the best neighborhood in Paris for a 30-year-old professional who loves art, trendy restaurants, and hates noise. Millions of people have left the US and are thriving. See what some of my viewers have said. I left the USA in 2008 for Germany and never looked back. I left the USA 12 years ago with no plan to return. My life has been so much better living in many countries. Even in my small South France town, there is more and more United Statesians with their kids leaving that failed country, and the kids don't seem to have any will to go back to their parents' country. Moving abroad can be exciting and scary, but to me, what I find to be even scarier is living in a country that you want to leave but can't. Whether you're motivated by fear, hope, wanderlust, politics, or a combination, remember that the world is a big, beautiful, and complicated place, and you don't have to stay in one country. Pack your curiosity, definitely pack your patience, sense of humor, and enjoy the journey. The world is yours. Just find your place in it.